Yo.
Yo, yo. Bro, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Awesome. I think we are live, right?
pretty much.
Awesome. Bro, first of all, it's been forever
It's been forever for both of us.
for both of us, bro. And the thing is, the crazy thing is that we're doing this live. And I have never done a live session. So, yeah, this
uh,
is hopefully it's going to be, pretty chill. And,
yep.
bro, I'm really looking forward to listening to the album. I think I should say one thing before we get started. It is that
Uh-huh.
bro, the whole reason like we started this channel, I started this channel because, I started with you and, our connection to Bahrain and stuff like that. And when I saw that you're releasing this new album and when you hit me up, bro, like it was just a whole different set of feelings that, came in
Yeah.
because and when you asked me, are we doing this? I was like, of course we're doing this, bro. Even though I haven't done it for so long, right? So, bro, thank you for hitting me up. And couple of my friends, because I haven't been posting on Instagram and stuff. Couple of my friends that I haven't spoken to for a long time, like guys who sat with me in college and everything, they hit me up asking, where are you, bro? It's been a long time. So I guess I have to thank you for that as well, bro.
Nah, nah. For me, it was when I was putting the album out, and the last two albums I put out, we did the listening session together. And for me, it had become more of a tradition thing that I had to maintain. I feel so. I was like, oh, I need to hit up Ronnie. We need to do this. And you also, I mean, you're also one of those people I want to share something with because you ask certain things, and you observe certain things, and I mean, at the end of the day, when I make something like this, especially the music, for me it's more of exploring that art side of things.
Hmm.
So when I'm sharing it with someone who actually understands and values it, it's a lot more rewarding. So let's say it's also a little more of a selfish thing. So
No, bro, definitely. I think, bro, the thing is, it's been so long since you actually came out with an album. Like, I think we
yeah.
should definitely start with like where were you all this while? Probably, I know you've been making music on the side. There were few, tracks that you release here and there, but I guess life gets in the way too. But I'll let you explain, what's been
Yeah.
happening these last because I think you've been cooking this album up for a long, long time, right?
Yeah. So I guess more context on the album itself. 2020 was when Scottappan Vibes came out. Adarnu, the first experimentation on that influence that I had from
Hmm.
Travis.
Yeah.
That started because Asameta, no one else was doing something like that in Malayalam. So I was like, oh, want to do something like this. And Dan and Bevan, Bob, those guys have always been there from the beginning, and they're here this time too. If I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it with the boys. So yeah, we did that, and then അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് when I did the second album, താഴ്ന്ന തുടക്കം, it was more I just didn't want to do just another album. Scottappan
Hmm.
Vibes was like one of those albums that I just did because I was also trying to figure out who this persona was. And then with Tharna Thodakam, it was more about, oh, I want to experiment now. Like, I want to get into that art side of music.
Hmm.
So it was more of experimenting different genres. And, that's how I ended up with 14 tracks on that album, where I was just like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I was hitting up, producers left and right. I was like, oh, I want something like this, I want something like that. There was a little bit more of art direction, I guess, in the soundscape. And then, so that was 2020 with Scottappan Vibes. Taranthodakam came out in 2021. And the goal with the whole Scottappan thing was also to do an album every year. So, like every
Hmm.
year, I wanted to put out an album on the same date or around the same time, which was March. And so, Taranthodakam came out. And to be honest, 14 tracks, I was very exhausted. As
It
an
is a
artist,
lot, bro. Like
yeah, it's a
14
lot.
tracks is a lot
Yeah.
of music. Yeah.
So for me, I think what came right after that was a bit of an artistic block in a way, because it was like, what do I do now? Like, how do I do another album and that's different from the other two that I've done? And and again, just because I've always wanted to explore more, it was like, okay, cool. How do I do something that's different this time? So അങ്ങനെ ചിന്തിച്ചിരുന്നപ്പോഴായിരുന്നു, I started work on this
Mm-hmm.
album like somewhere around the same time, like 2021 la sharikum. The first few tracks are done. I mean, most of the tracks ഈ final ആൽബത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ട്രാക്കും 2021 തുടങ്ങിയതാ, but they didn't get done until much later.
Mm.
So around August was when it really started. Like, I think from the time the Tanutodakam released up until August, I think I was just there looking around, trying to figure out how I could do it the next album. അങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുമ്പോഴാ I started coming up with this idea, like, oh, I want to do something around this whole more of a storytelling kind of thing. And so this whole metaphor on how life is kind
Mm-hmm.
of came up. And then I was like, oh, I'll try to use this journey in a flight as the metaphor itself. And then slowly pieces started coming together, and I was starting to see this big vision in a way. And then thanks to Aryan's here. He's my old roommate from LA. He's a film major, and then I think in many ways he definitely was one of the big influences too, because
Mm-hmm.
him being a filmmaker, I was like, oh, I used to be around film sets with him, and I used to see him write and whatnot, and I was like, man, how do I do something that is similar to that? And his medium was visual and writing and stuff, and I was like, oh, my medium is sonic, so I'm gonna do something audio film kind of
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So no, 100% all of the stuff that I usually do is how do I say, inspired and influenced by people around me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Angana we started, and then I think by the end of the year 2021 itself, I knew that what I had in my mind, vision wise, both sonically and how I wanted to execute it, I knew for sure I was not going to be able to put it out in 2022.
Right.
So then it became a thing where I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to push it till I know where it's good enough that I can put it out. So സമയം പോയി, time kept going. And then
Yeah,
at some point, I'm someone who loses interest really quick too.
yeah.
But surprisingly, I didn't lose it for a long time on it. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് around somewhere in 2022, I was like, I'm not going to do this. And then there was a moment where, like a lot of people were listening to individual tracks. I used to send it out to a lot of different people to get, opinions, because it was uncharted territory for me in
Mm-hmm.
certain ways. So, I would send it out, and then I'd be like, what do you think? And then there were a couple of times where certain people wanted certain tracks from the album, and I even thought about dismantling the whole album and just giving out the tracks to different people for features and whatnot. But Satyam Barnya, I think it was like end of last year, where it was like suddenly came back to me, and I was like, no, I gotta finish this. Like, even after 4 years of starting it, like since 2021 up until now, no one did something similar to this, like a whole concept album kind of thing.
Right.
And I was like, man, I have all of it mostly done. It's just the matter of pushing it to the finish line
Right.
and then putting it out. So angane, then yeah, we finished it up.
And here we are.
And then here we are. Yeah, that's why we're here.
Bro, first of all, shout out to Adrian. I've seen a lot of like the stuff that you're putting out in terms of like the flight plan and the detail that goes into it, the work that's gone into it. Even guys, like for the ones who are listening, that Instagram photo of me, showing you the boarding pass or whatever, that's done by Glenn as well. So bro, like the effort and the work is definitely like it's visible. And like one thing that I felt with the stuff that you put out is because you have this um design aspect of things that come with the work you do as well now, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a part of what you do for a living as well. So
yeah,
I think when those two elements of the music, the design, all of it comes together, like it just creates something so unique too. And
yeah,
while testing some of the tracks that we're gonna play, I was just testing the first 10 seconds and stuff, and in that few seconds itself, like I could tell that this is like Glenn. Like it's so easy to say that this is something uniquely created by you. And bro, I'm really looking forward to listening to the album. And I also wanted to say one thing, right? Like the declassified stuff that
yeah,
you've been putting out, especially like
yeah.
1 and 4 that you put out. Like a lot of people wouldn't know what the context of this, but I think we have 7 tracks on the album. And how many were there in total to begin with, and like how many are
Oh.
in the declassified list?
Let me see. There is about 40 tracks that I made for this album.
Wow.
Out of which only seven we put out, and then out of that we decided to put out five, more or less kind of done-ish tracks that were conceptually kind of done. Those are the ones that we put out as declassified or throwaways from the album. They were basically,
Yeah.
they didn't fit in. The reason why it was also just seven was because in the narrative of the story itself, I wanted to make sure that every track served a purpose
Hmm.
and played a role in the whole plot line. And so a lot of these didn't fit in either lyrically or sonically, and so
Hmm.
I was like, what's the point of putting it out if it doesn't serve the purpose? Angane, five tracks that I really liked out of them, which I couldn't put into the album, were the ones that I put out, and I was like, cool, they still deserve to be heard a little bit, I guess.
I
So
think so too. I mean,
yeah.
there was a comment on that that said that throwaways are like it's better than a lot of the tracks that a lot of the other artists put out, like finished tracks, right? They're basically referring to that. How these tracks are already so fucking fire, bro. So I mean, I don't want to keep anyone waiting. I am excited as well. I think we should definitely start off with the tracks, but before that, I would also like to share maybe the flight plan, and
Yeah,
then we can probably get started from there. Okay, so let's go. Bro, let me know if you can see my
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Flight plan, the more you know. And bro, tell me a little bit about the inspiration of this thing. Looks sick,
Yeah.
man. I love the design of, the stuff that you've been putting out.
So yeah, so since when we started the project itself, തുടക്കത്തിൽ തന്നെ, um, even for the producers when we were starting to, you know, ideate on how the track should sound and whatnot. Me being a visual guy, I kind of put together this whole document. It was not this
Hmm.
particular exact one, but a rough draft version of this, and with images and whatnot of how I would translate the sound into a
Hmm.
visual format. എന്നിട്ട് ഇതെല്ലാവർക്കും അയച്ചു കൊടുത്തിട്ട് then we also had like a playlist that we put together from with reference tracks of how each song should sound or like what the vibes were. Um, which we kind of use as the main outline for, at least personally I use it more because I was using that as my outline for how
Hmm.
it should all come together. So the document was called Flight Plan because that's an actual technical document that pilots and I guess technical people in the airline, I mean the airfield, use
Hmm.
to tell them how a particular journey is going to go. So I kind of wanted to create that for the listeners to understand where each track would take them. The whole design aspect of it, it came from this whole visual aesthetic that I was kind of setting up, like old flights, that
Hmm.
whole nostalgic kind of feel. Because sonically too, there's a lot of elements that are like a little more older, or like inspired off of like old synths and whatnot, organ and whatnot. So it's അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു throwback ഉണ്ട്. So I was like, oh, cool, bringing it all together. And so I was looking at old safety manuals from ഈ പഴയ airlines, and I was like, oh, cool. There's my inspiration for how this document should look like. And yeah, so we put this together, and ideally, I would love to print one and keep one for myself, as a booklet, just to remind myself of, this project for sure.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I think I am ready. So fasten your seatbelts, headphones upright, and oh, we're smoking friendly too, which is
We are
great.
smoking friendly.
Bro,
uh,
so yeah, so the first track is obviously just like we're gonna board onto the flight, and this is again produced by Bob and yourself, right? So
mm.
is this like one of the
So
first tracks that you are producing?
yeah,
Like that you put out there, I should ask probably.
not necessarily, but like project la ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് I ventured out a lot more as a producer, and I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to test the waters a lot more, with my own skill set, kind of learning how I can get better at it, and also being able to convey better the ideas that I wanted to with the producers that I'm working with and stuff. So big shout out to these guys 100%, because if it none of these tracks would exist. And another big shout out goes to Anjali, because she always makes sure everything is right and looks right. And also, you'll hear more of her. So, so let's put it at
I,
that.
awesome, bro. So I think we're good to get started then, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. So, okay, I am going to share my screen to the other. Okay,
There you
just to
go.
make sure I played from the beginning, because I listened to the first 10 seconds without you knowing, but here we go. Cool.
There
Here
you
we
go.
go, bro.
Cool.
Let me know if it's all good, yeah?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Southside Air. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. Also, make sure your headphones are in their full upright position. We kindly remind you that this is a smoking-friendly flight. If you have any questions about our flight today, please keep it to yourself. Thank you for choosing us, and we hope you have a memorable journey.
You're not a thief, jumping with me. Feel the heat, but I'm not free. It's what you see, space out of sea. In the theory, living the dream. You're not a thief, jumping with me. Feel the heat, but I'm not free. It's what you see, space out of sea. In the theory, living the dream.
ജീവിതത്തിൽ ആദ്യമായി ഭാരരഹിതാവസ്ഥകൾ അനുഭവിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നു. ഭയം എല്ലാവരെയും വിട്ടുപോയിരിക്കുന്നു. എല്ലാവർക്കും ഭാരരഹിതമായതിന്റെ ആവേശമാണ്. രസകരമായ ഒരു അനുഭവം, അത്ഭുതകരമായ ഒരു അനുഭവം. ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ നമുക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും അനുഭവിക്കാൻ കഴിയാത്ത ഒന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ ആകാശത്ത് അനുഭവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു.
Bro, is this Sanjaram, inspired too?
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
used to be one of my favorite shows on TV.
yeah. Nah.
What brought that aspect of like why do you think that would like fit into the first part of the album?
So there's a lot more audio samples in here. Be
Mm-hmm.
it Anjali, it was the sample. They're kind of sprinkled all over the project, because when you're in a flight, you usually hear the air hostess kind of welcoming you in, kind of telling you how you should be, how to be safe inside, and even the captain kind of gives you a talk on the radio just to welcome
Yeah.
you in, and like kind of give you an idea of where you're going, how things are looking, how the weather is, and whatnot. So it was just inspired off of those things, just being in a flight and like seeing like, oh yeah, cool, I can bring some of that into this, kind of tell that story or that sense of the story, or sensation in general, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one was done by Bob. He did a mad job. You can hear from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a little bit that the producers have kind of gotten into as well, right? Even though we
Yep.
couldn't get them on the show, but I
On
think
the show, yeah.
yeah. So I think let me since we just listened to his first track, right?
Yeah.
Let's listen to what he has to say.
For the songs.
Okay, let me play from the
Hi.
beginning.
This is the Bob. In terms of like thought processes for the songs, for the intro track, I think we did that like super early. Like if I'm not mistaken, it was 3 years ago. I'd like sent a beat to Glenn, and it just so happened that it fit the vibe of the album really well as an intro track. So yeah, that was like very early into the lifetime of this album's production. In terms of the second track,
Okay, we aren't at the second track yet, I think.
So we wait. Yeah. Nah, but Bevan did this whole thing. It was crazy. Like, എനിക്ക് ആദ്യമേ അയച്ചു തന്ന ഒരു beat ആയിരുന്നു ഇത്. And this was one of those early tracks that got done as well. I quickly jumped on it, and immediately I knew that I wanted this intro someone speaking into the mic as well. And so I recorded a version, I sent it to Anjali, and then Anjali recorded it back to me and sent it back, and it fit right in as well. And then it was such a great track. It has, like, I don't know, it kind of sounds a little nostalgic too in certain ways. So yeah, this is all that kind of influenced how all the sounds kind of track and creating that sonic soundscape of what you can expect, I guess.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that gets us right in. I think we should definitely just jump into the next
Oh
one.
yeah, 100%.
Bro, I'm just, pumped to listen to the next track. This one was really, short too. Like
Yeah.
it's time to get taxiing, I guess. That's the next part of the album, right? So here we go. Let's play the second track.
Southside here. Is there a problem, sir? What's your fucking problem? Just fucking play this song! Shut up!
Listen to my songs, you get a free ride. I said it's free, don't pay a price. Red flags, yeah, it's one be right, yeah. See through the liquor recline. Listen to my songs, you get a free ride. I said it's free, don't pay a price. Red flags, yeah, it's one be right, yeah. Red flags, yeah, it's one be right, yeah. I learned it all. I gave it all. Bumpy rides, couple of tries, lot of lies. Pardon, break my teeth, but maybe you get it right. Maybe this time, couple of times, start your rights, never go blind. Diamond organ, mile my base and the whites I stay. Well, let you come my way. Yeah, I know everything in front of me is fake. It didn't in the random or the break. So I close my eyes and I let it take. See through the liquor recline. Listen to my songs, you get a free ride. I said it's free, don't pay a price. Red flags, yeah, it's one be right, yeah. See through the liquor recline. Listen to my songs, you get a free ride. I said it's free, don't pay a price. Red flags, yeah, it's one be right, yeah.
Keeps jumping into the next one, bro. But it really, especially the end of that track, it really, makes you feel like, yeah, you're getting started. You're getting into this now.
This
This one
one,
was
yeah.
again Bob and yourself, right?
Yeah. So I think what was crazy about this was also one of those early tracks that I wrote. And actually, I produced it initially. ഞാനൊരു demo ഉണ്ടാക്കി എന്നിട്ട് I sent it to, well, I didn't send it to anybody. I had this for a long ass time. And even till the end, actually, up until a month and a half ago, I didn't have this in the final list of the song.
Oh.
Like the second spot, like Taxiing, was just kept empty for a long time because I couldn't find the right song. And this was there and it had the right elements in it, but the song didn't sound good. And then towards the end, I sent it to Bob, and I sent it to him and I was like, see what you can do. Like, I gave him a couple of pointers and I was like, see what you can do. Like this, has to work out in certain ways, I guess. And then he picked it up compared to what the demo is to what the final track is. He's added so many details and like he's enhanced it in so many different ways. But yeah, no, absolutely love the main melody on this and how the track goes too. It's like there's a lot of hesitation, like you think the beat's gonna drop and it's gonna be a hard verse, but it's not. It sounds a little pummy, you're just doing a verse and it's like yeah, one kind of thing. it's all intentional, right? Because it's like when you are taxiing, especially for a journey that you're not knowing where it's going to go, you are hesitant, you're also excited. So it's that weird feeling of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this, but I'm not, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's fear and excitement at the same time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is a weird kind of feeling.
yeah. And Bevan talks about this in the audio that he sent, and I think he explains it better than I do.
So then let's just get straight into that. Let's listen to what Bob has to say.
In terms of the second track, Taxiing, Glenn had sent me a demo of the song a month ago, and he gave me two phrases along with it: controlled chaos and make it really confusing. So those two phrases kind of stuck out for me, and that was basically the backbone of the beat, I would say, because there's a lot of like weird stuff that I think I did on it, which I don't want to say out loud, so that you as a listener can try to figure that out. And on top of that, I kind of wanted it to be a song that kind of bridges the intro and the actual journey of the flight, kind of like seamlessly transitions into like taking off and then you're on for the ride. Coincidentally, in the storyline of the album, it just happened. It just so like it just kind of like worked out with like the plot of Final Destination. So that's what I wanted to do as well. I took like the concept of it like, oh, there is a passenger who has a vision, kind of realizes that okay, this journey is not what it seems like. It might end up exploding or crashing or whatever. So I wanted you, the listener, to be a passenger in it, and you are not paying any attention to it. So like the commotion's happening back behind you, you do not care. You put on your headphones, turn it on, turn on noise cancelling, and then you're in for the ride. So yeah, that was the thought processes.
Bro, I think control chaos is the right way to like if you wanted to summarize what I heard, what I felt as well, it was control chaos because it's coming. You know
Yeah,
something's coming, but you don't know what or when or how, right? So
yeah,
yeah, bro, like yeah, let's just go take
yeah,
off
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
then let's move on from there, right? Let's go, bro.
100%.
Okay.
These visions I see, they tell me it's lit. Yeah, conduct. Yeah. Yeah. We get there. Yeah.
Bro, I think the highlight there for me is, Kondu Annada new sounds to the game. And like I was gonna ask you even before I read that part of the, lyrics, like you actually feel like this new sound that is there, and is that something you had in mind when you created this track, or is that something Dan brought into it?
So this is the first track I actually made. So
Mm,
up until the beat switch, that's all me producing. The beat switch was where Dan came in, and I think in a lot of ways, the track's name also take off.
mhm.
Going higher, ichire, pongacham, and all that stuff. Which is why I'm also like being a little braggy and stuff.
Right, right.
But I think overall, sound wise, also like I wanted it to keep feeling like it kept going up and up and up and up. And which is why even like when you think the track is kind of over, dance
Hmm.
switch brings back, and it's like, oh man, just when I thought the beat was like it reached its peak, it even goes higher. And so that was like the whole thought process behind making this. But yeah, like in general, you can't define peak in a journey unless there is something that compares it with something that goes down. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. But just throwing that out there.
Bro, when like just moving it a little in terms of, not about the album, but about the game as a whole, when you talk about like
uh,
Southside and things like that, right? I remember when, like, even when I started the podcast, when we were talking and things like that, where the scene was and just the growth and where it's gone, right? It's just phenomenal, man. It's just
oh,
something else
100%.
to see that, and to see artists actually being able to make a living off of this. Is just, I feel like a lot of these guys, even from Kalaman, right? I mean, like, these guys have been there for a long, long time, and to just see this great, push and this audience that's coming in to listen to it. And I still feel like, it's nowhere near where it has to be or where it deserves to be.
Yeah,
Because one thing that I keep thinking of is, even when we started speaking, when we met, right? At such a young age, how you were creating these new sounds in our music,
yeah,
right? Basically, even though it was inspired by Travis Scott, you still have so much of your own element that you bring into it,
hmm,
like your personality that you bring into it. And that's what I was saying in the beginning too, right? Like when I heard parts of this itself, like, it's a Glenn, album. It's like it has that unique personality to, the music that you're creating. And like, bro, I think like it's just gone up, and I just hope it keeps going up from here. But just our scene, the way it's grown, and it's just
yeah.
amazing to see, man.
Nah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of great artists out there now. Um, it's nice. It's fun to see where the scene is going. And to still be a part of it.
Hmm.
It's a blessing in many ways. And for people to still remain and still bump my stuff,
Hmm.
it's nice. It's nice to know.
Have you like seen a difference in? I'm just giving an example, like
Yeah.
streaming, right? Has
Mhm.
has have you seen like a great difference in how things used to be maybe 2 years back versus how things are now? Like for you, let's say you personally, I'll take that
Yeah.
example since I'm speaking to you.
For me personally, I haven't really looked into the stats as much,
Hmm.
but there was definitely a peak some time ago where, like, at some point I had reached like 40K monthly listeners on Spotify and stuff.
Hmm.
And a lot of it's also nice to know like a lot of old tracks, like especially the ones with KV, like Mafia, Asha, and
Yeah.
all those tracks. Other King and Academy Pidum plays. കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത് കാണാൻ. It's interesting. It's fun. It's nice that a lot of those songs have repeat value.
Yeah.
Even when there's newer stuff coming out, people still
Mhm.
go back to the stuff like that. But for me, lately at least, I haven't been posting as much, and the ones that I do too are either like onengi very out of the left field kind of thing. Like I'll go some completely in a very different genre because I was
Mhm.
throwing out a lot of different stuff lately. But that Scottappan thing hadn't come back in a long while, so this is that pretty much.
This is the evolution of Scottappan, bro. When like one thing you said that like really resonates with me is how you go back to listening to stuff, right? Like with me, especially when you said Mafia, Asha, these tracks, right? Like recently, I went back to listening to it, and bro, trust me, next month when you look at your stats, it's gonna show. It's really gonna show, bro. Like I've been listening to these on repeat, and shout out to KV, man. Like I know
KV,
he's probably
100%.
listening somewhere there, or he listens to it later, bro. But shout out to my man. He's doing an amazing job, and even
Yeah,
even the other. I was telling you the other day, right? When I listened to regular,
yeah,
that track, just four of you guys, Saint Moose, you, Duncan, KV, what you guys have done, right? It's something else, bro. Like what you guys are putting out is very unique in itself, and I think there's a certain audience for every kind of music, and I think
yeah,
it's hopefully going to be found even more than it is right now.
yeah, 100%.
Awesome. So, what do you
Um,
think, bro? Are you ready for May Day? I'm definitely
up to
ready.
you, up to you, up to you. There's also a word from Dan on this track as well. If you
Oh
want to
yes,
listen to it,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, bro. That's the thing. Like, thank you for telling me. I keep forgetting these things. So let me play what Dan has to say about Takeoff.
Oh, we can't hear this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Give me 1 second, bro. That's strange.
or I couldn't hear it.
Oh no. Let me try it again then. No refresh is no come. Maybe I'll, just to make sure I'll share it once again. Can you hear it now?
I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear it.
Do you think it's just you, or
I don't know. I'm not fully sure. If someone in the
let me
chat
let me
can
play
say,
the other
yeah, yeah.
maybe let's test out something here. Do you hear that?
No, I don't hear that either. No.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Can't hear.
I,
Everyone
I,
can't hear.
oh, even better. I thought it was just you.
അയ്യോ പോയി.
ബാക്കി ഇനി എല്ലാരും വരുമ്പോ കേട്ടോ അല്ലേ?
Oh, in the meanwhile, so I got
Yeah.
no, I was gonna say, so the album got delayed. It was supposed to come out 12th, but it's been pushed to 18th because we had some updates on the album very last minute, and for the sake of the album remaining, you know, staying true to the art form, we decided to push it than compromise and put something out that was not perfect. So yeah, 18th is when the album's coming out, but this is like a whole week before preview of the final tracks.
Yeah, hopefully we
Yeah.
can still preview the whole album.
Let's see.
Let's see, bro. I'm gonna try it once again, yeah.
which used to be called Palathavan.
Oh yeah, now I can hear. Yeah.
Oh, perfect, bro. I
Yeah.
think okay. Let's go. Happy to hear that it's back. I
Yeah.
thought we'd have to postpone this too.
Hey guys, Dan here. I would just want to say a few things about the tracks that I worked on this project with Glenn. So starting off with the second track, which used to be called Palathavana. This is way back in I think 2022 or 2020. One, when Glenn sent me this track, which he produced, pretty much produced the entire thing. As soon as I heard the track, I was like, damn, this is something different, because he used EDM synth sounds and added a hip hop beat to it. So it was something quite different for that time. And I think Glenn told me like he was looking for like a beat switch portion and something along those lines. So I think I just thought, okay, why not I give it a try, and I did something on it. Actually, we were on a call on a Zoom meet at that time, and we kind of just cooked up something at that time, and I ended up doing the outro section for the second track of the album.
By second, he meant third. But
It was probably second then, right?
it was back then when taxiing was still not fully in the album. Takeoff was kind of, it was boarding and then you take off immediately. We didn't have the taxiing fully settled in. So yeah, but that's about the Takeoff track. Used to be known as Palatavana. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Dan's around, but shout out to Dan. I know we have
No,
more
I mean,
tracks that you
yes.
guys have, this one.
Yes.
So, bro, I'm excited to go into the next one. Okay,
Next one, let's go. Yeah, go for it.
Mayday, let's go.
Holy shit. Everyone, stay calm. Shit, I think we're going down. Brace for impact.
ചാപ്പിള്ളയുടെ ചാത്തനേറുകൊണ്ട് കണ്ണുപോയ ചന്ദ്രൻ, പറക്കും മമ്പരചുംബികളിൽ മണ്ണുകൊണ്ടുപോയ മണ്ടൻ, വിഷമേൽക്കാത്ത നാവിന് കറുകറുത്ത മുഴുമൂർച്ച, പ്രാസങ്ങൾ പിടിത 16 കെട്ടി നടുമുറ്റത്ത് ചിന്തകൾക്ക് രതിമൂർച്ച, മുറിത്തുമ്മിലല്ല വാക്കുകളുടെ കാമക്രീഡകൾ പുറത്ത്, ഉദ്ധരിച്ച പേന നീല ശുക്ലം തെളിച്ചു വെള്ളമുതച്ച കടലാസ മുഖത്ത്.
Bro, first of all, the only feature, huh?
Or the
And
only
that's
feature.
Pagarchevadi from Street Academics.
Yes, yes, yes.
How did that happen, bro? I mean, I feel like I haven't seen him or heard him for a long time. I don't know if that's because I have not been around, but
Bro is the OG of all OGs. He has a very special place, at least from my point of view, and people should have a very special place for him in Malayalam hip hop,
Mhm.
or hip hop in general in all of India, because one of the OG pioneers of our scene. Um, I I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I see a lot of his posts and stuff. And fortunately enough, he was aware of who I was. So when we started doing this track with Arcado and I mean, when I was track, I idea vannappan thanne I knew I was gonna give it to Arcado because I wanted that madness that Arcade and I did in Tarnatodakam. We went through
Mhm.
some crazy roller coaster of a track in that album. And so when this album came up, I knew when I wanted something, that crazy, I wanted to hit up Arcade for it. So we did the track, and then for the second half of it, I wanted this feature, and so I hit Pagarstavadi up. I just texted him. I was like, hey, I have this idea that I'm kind of working on. Would love for you to give me something for it. And he was like, and bro didn't say no immediately. I sent him the track, and then I just got the file from him. Like he sent me over, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like for me, it was a big moment for sure. For someone like him to be on something
Mhm.
like something that was big for me, that was definitely, yeah, big.
Like when you had the plan to like start this thing and this whole journey of creating this album, did you think that you'd want to feature anyone, or you wanted to actually do a single like solo album in the beginning?
Nah, I think initially ഞങ്ങള് പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നപ്പം I think certain tracks ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു where I wanted certain features and stuff. I was thinking I'll even go super big, very commercial-ish kind of features and whatnot.
Mhm.
But then kind of thinking about it, I also was like, nah, I wanted it to be that big moment for Scottappan's arc, and I wanted that to be the main highlight in many ways. But this track, especially with that whole everything going down,
Mhm.
and there's also a different take on this track, right? It's not just about the flight anymore. I also talk about art in general, like how, uh,
Creativity is dying and stuff,
yeah, creativity is dying. I mean, with this whole whatever's happening in the world right now, and even like how people, even with mainstream music, sometimes we put something that's more repetitive and formulaic
Mhm.
over things that are probably a little more thought out, and like or the general audience does not have or does not find the capacity to understand what true art is sometimes. And maybe that also stems not just from music for me, me being a designer too.
Mhm.
There's a lot of influence from there that's coming from there, from where that's coming from, I guess. But Arcado definitely killed it in this with that first drop, and then when I needed that second site on he has a whole dystopian kind of thing that he does, and you can hear a lot of it on SoundCloud, YouTube,
Mhm.
and whatnot. And his gritty voice, that was definitely needed to for something for a message like that.
Yeah.
And I actually have a voice note from him where he goes in depth about a lot of things. So yeah.
Bro, and like when I saw that Arcado was the one who produced this, what image came in my mind? It was, the poster for Gus Mode, right?
Yeah.
That's what came into my mind. The first thing that, like, because there's so much going on in that poster, like for people that don't know, like Breaking Bad is, the reference to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Bro, that's what came into my mind, and the guitars too, right? I mean,
Yeah, shout out to CV. So these were the last updates that actually happened on the album. E track
mm,
ആയിരുന്നു. So we finished the album, and I sent it over to the whole album to Arcado, so that all the producers. I sent it to all the producers so they could listen to it and then tell me what they thought as a full. And Arcado heard it and he was like, "Yeah, everything sounds great, but I want to change a few things on the fourth track." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So he then updated a few production arrangement lecture changes on, and then he was like, the first drop initially was a very different thing. He was like, "Nah, I want to put guitars instead." So CV, someone he works with a lot, is a great guitarist in our scene, Malayalam music in general. And he, laid down some guitar riffs really quick. And yeah,
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
amazing stuff. Shout out to them.
Bro, should we? I want
Yeah,
to listen to what Arcado has to say about
yeah,
this.
100%. Yeah,
Let's go. Let me know if you can hear this.
yeah.
Talking about the project, like start to end, എനിക്ക് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ പ്രോസസ് എൻജോയ് ചെയ്തൊരു സോങ് ആണിത്. Like it has come out in a way that I'm pretty proud of. I absolutely love making songs with JWS in the sense that like ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു സ്പേസ് എപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ടാവാറുണ്ട്, and we sort of end up making very weird stuff which I don't know, I personally wouldn't have made otherwise. Coming back to this project, my project files and all are named Houston ഈ പാട്ടില്, because we started out with the whole Houston we have a problem thing, and the concept of the song being a chaotic situation. Yeah, so the whole idea of the song was to have some chaos. Album placement wise ആയിരുന്നാലും അങ്ങനെ ഒരു placement ആണ്. Like it's the whole Houston we have a problem kind of situation that is going on in the song. അപ്പോൾ soundscape wise I wanted something along the lines of False Alarm by Weekend. പക്ഷെ അവിടെ നിന്ന് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് I think the song has become that and much more in terms of our references, our mood boards, our like palettes. Then Pagarchavyadi did his thing on the second verse, man. I love whatever pen game, whatever poetry has happened there. It's very dystopian, very weird also in the sense of how the song has come together with all the elements. I love how we've been able to incorporate very unorthodox themes in terms of artistry, musicianship, art in general, and all that in നമ്മുടെ GWS ന്റെ സെക്ഷനിൽ. Like, and the drop thing തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ തൊട്ട് തന്നെ we had a drum and bass idea in mind. That's what we അപ്പോൾ പക്ഷെ അത് again അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു soundscape wise and all, it has evolved into a very very beautiful track with നമ്മുടെ guitars from CV, and പിന്നെ that second drop with a very choir based idea on top with 808s and stuff beneath. Sounds very anthemic. Overall, ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ like I'm glad how all the different textures, different scapes came together into a very cohesive song.
Looks like when Arcado was recording it, there was some shit going down in the background.
Yeah.
Some bomb or alarm or something going at the same time. Right. Bro, but I think do you feel like I think something you spoke about on this like track itself, right? Like the formulas and how people are just trying to create hits. I mean, that's definitely gonna affect music in a lot of ways, right? Like,
Oh
do you
yeah.
feel like okay, for you maybe it's a little different in the sense that like you have your own career in terms of like making a living out of it. I mean, it's great to have this on the side too, but if people can't maybe get that opportunity to express themselves for who they are completely, and I guess being accepted by everyone's obviously not easy, but
Yeah.
like how do you see that balance, bro? Like how do you put out
I
stuff that's yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like ഞാൻ തുടങ്ങിയ സമയത്ത് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ മ്യൂസിക്കും and what I'm making now, there's a big difference in a lot of ways. Like if you listen to Kottayam Duke, Trap Sundari, those were, I guess, written in a way to be a little more catchy and like poppy and for people to easily get and onto, and it was a little more mainstream in many ways. But what I think I realized sometime along the way was, for me, this is not particularly uh, bread making thing. So I am fortunate enough to have the opportunity to do things differently and
Yeah.
explore a lot more artistically. And so it would be unfair and an injustice to the art form itself when I have the opportunity to do it and I don't do it. So I actively try to do things that are different. And like Ella Trackum, I really try not to make sure that I don't make things that are similar over and over again. Um, and yeah, no, I mean, still props to all the people who actually do, mainstream music, because that's definitely
Yeah,
needed
it's
as well.
required, right? I
It is
mean, you
required.
can't.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know personally a few artists too. Like I've talked to a few big artists who've expressed that, like, they've told me themselves, they were like, "നിനക്ക് ഒരു freedom ഉണ്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ, like to do whatever, and you can take that risk." And like for some people it's not, and for them it was not. It was like for them
Yeah.
it really mattered that they stay in a good place, like in front of people, so that their numbers were doing good and the money keeps
Mhm.
coming in and whatnot. So for me, I have that advantage or the opportunity to take a risk and do something that's really offhand, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if my viewership or listeners go down, it's whatever. Like at least ഒരു 5-6 പേര് കേൾക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ I take that as a win. That's enough for me.
Do you think
Yeah.
like there is no fear of failure because of that?
I mean, it's good to fail, I guess, in many ways, right? Like you know what works and what doesn't work, and then sometimes
Yeah.
it's also just like, I mean, something that I personally do. എനിക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമില്ലാത്ത സാധനം ഞാൻ എന്തായാലും ഇറക്കത്തില്ല. So at least I know I liked it. So in my eyes, it was not
Right.
bad.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess that's another way to look at it.
And when you say, like 40 tracks get distilled to like seven,
Yeah.
that already, says a lot about it. But what I
Yeah.
meant in the end is like doing your own thing, right? Like putting your own sound out there and with these amazing artists that you're doing it with, right? Something really unique. It might not be a commercial project as such,
Yeah.
like in terms of even, I think we spoke about this, like putting out videos, like
Yeah.
one thing is the ability to put it out, and uh, the other is that it might be really required if it has to go mainstream too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. And then Enikunu, yeah, for me, at some point, it was just more about just making music. So I pretty much stopped making videos uh,
Mm.
and being in videos. And I was just like, I want to be the behind the scenes, actually making it, than the promotion side of it, I guess.
Yeah,
But again, that's a personal thing. I'm not saying
for
it's
sure. No,
wrong.
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can only talk about your
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
opinion,
Yeah.
your situation, but everyone's is obviously different, and it's
Yeah.
just great to see all in all that people are actually able to put out art, and compared to 2 years or 3 years back,
Oh,
how
yeah.
things are moving, it's just a start. I feel I
Yeah.
think we're gonna see a lot more younger artists, and you were talking about this too, right? A lot of
Yeah.
young artists who are coming out, putting out their own thing. The ability for us to do this on our phones and
Yeah.
internet access, all this, things have changed a lot. So I think for overall for the scene, it's great.
Yeah.
So that's what we need, and Malayalam hip hop and Malayalam music as a whole, getting recognized is,
It's
what
really important. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's
it,
more
it
important.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is important. Awesome, bro. And bro, I wanted to ask you this May Day, the
So
second.
the second one is from Pagasevadi. Yeah.
Let's
So if
let's
you want
go
to listen to
straight
that,
into it. Yeah,
it's a
for
bit
sure.
loud, so you might want to reduce the volume.
Sure.
Yeah, a little bit.
Uh,
Yeah, that should be good. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, here we go.
അതായത് ഒരു 2-3 കൊല്ലം മുമ്പാണ് ഗ്ലെന്നി ഈ ഒരു ട്രാക്കിൻ്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞ് എൻ്റെ അടുത്തേക്ക് വരുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ആദ്യം ആലോചിച്ചത് ഗ്ലെന്നിൻ്റെ ആർട്ടും എൻ്റെ ആർട്ടും രണ്ട് വിരുദ്ധ ദ്രോഹങ്ങളിലാണ്. പോളാർ ഓപ്പോസിറ്റ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന മ്യൂസിക്കാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ രണ്ടുപേരുടെയും. അപ്പം ഞാനിങ്ങനെ ആലോചിക്കുകയാണ് എന്താണ് എനിക്ക് ഗ്ലെന്നിന് സംഭാവന ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുക. പിന്നെയാണ് ഗ്ലെൻ ഇതിൻ്റെ കൺസെപ്റ്റ് പറയുന്നത്. അതായത് ഒരു എയർലൈൻ തീംഡായിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു സ്കൈ തീംഡായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ടോപ്പിക്കാണ്. ഞാനിതുവരെ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സംഭവം അപ്രോച്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല, കയ്യിലെടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. പിന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ ട്രാക്ക് കേൾക്കുന്നത്. ആർക്കേഡോ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്ത ട്രാക്കാണ്. ആർക്കേഡോ അറിയാലോ, വൈഡ് റേഞ്ചുള്ള ജോണറൊക്കെ ബെൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു പ്രൊഡ്യൂസറാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ഭാഷയിൽ പറഞ്ഞ വിങ് സ്പാനുള്ള പക്ഷിയാണ്. ട്രാക്കിൻ്റെ ടോപ്പിക് പറയുന്നത് മേഡേ എന്നാണ് ഗ്ലെൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. അതായത് ആ ഫ്ലൈറ്റ് ഒരു ടർബുലൻസിൽ ഏർപ്പെടുകയാണ്. ഒരു ഡിസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ തീംഡായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു സംഭവമാണ്. അതായത് ഏത് ഡിസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ എടുത്താലും അതൊരു എൻഡിങ് ആയിട്ടല്ല ഞാൻ കാണുന്നത് വ്യക്തിപരമായിട്ട്. അതൊരു ക്രിയേഷൻ്റെ തുടക്കമായിട്ടാണ് ഞാനതിനെ കാണുന്നത്. അതായത് ഏത് എക്സ്റ്റൻഷൻ ലെവൽ ഈവൻ്റ് എടുത്താലും അതിനെ ഫോളോ ചെയ്യുന്നത് പുതിയൊരു എപ്പോക്കിൻ്റെ തുടക്കമാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ അതേപോലൊരു തീമിൽ ഒരു മോണോലോഗ് എഴുതിയത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു മോണോലോഗാണ് നല്ലതെന്ന് എനിക്കും ഗ്ലെന്നിനും തോന്നി. അത് തന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ ചെയ്തത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ തുടക്കത്തിലൊരു സെൽഫ് ഡിസ്ട്രക്റ്റീവ് തീമും പിന്നെ ഒടുക്കം ഒരു ക്രിയേഷനിലേക്ക് മെർജ് ചെയ്യണ പോലൊരു സംഭവമാണ് എഴുതി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. പിന്നെ ഇതിൻ്റെ ട്രാക്കിൻ്റെ ഔട്ട്രോ ഞാൻ പറയേണ്ട സംഭവമാണ്. ഈ മോണോലോഗ് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ഔട്ട്രോ വരും. അതൊരു കൊയർ ബീറ്റാണ്. ശരിക്കും നമ്മൾ പഞ്ചിങ് ത്രൂ വോൾ, ചുമരൊക്കെ ഇടിച്ച് പൊളിക്കാൻ തോന്നിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കൊയർ ടൈപ്പ് ബീറ്റാണ് ആർക്കേഡോയിൽ ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ഹൈലൈറ്റ്സ് ഓഫ് ദ ട്രാക്ക്. പിന്നെ ഈ ട്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ പേഴ്സണൽ വർക്കുകളിലും ഏർപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഷെയ്ഡ് ഇതിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. അതായത് എൻ്റെ ഒരു ഡിസ്റ്റോപ്പിയൻ തീംഡ് ആർക്കും ഗ്ലെന്നിൻ്റെ ഒരു സ്കൈ തീംഡ് ആർക്കും ഇതിൽ മെർജായി, രണ്ടും കൂട്ടിമുട്ടി എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. നീല ആകാശത്തൂടെ ഒരു ഫ്ലൈറ്റ് പോകുമ്പോൾ അത് പെട്ടെന്ന് കാർമേഘങ്ങളിലേക്ക്, അതായത് നീലാകാശം ഒന്ന് ഗ്രേ നിറവാകുന്ന ഒരു ഫ്ലൈറ്റിൽ മൊത്തം ഇരുട്ട് പരക്കണ ഒരു മൂഡാണ് ഈ ട്രാക്ക് എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. എൻ്റെ വിഷ്വലി എനിക്കതാണ് കണ്ടത്, എനിക്കതാണ് കാണാൻ പറ്റിയത്. പിന്നെ ഏകദേശം ഒരു മാസം മുമ്പ് ഗ്ലെൻ എനിക്ക് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഫുൾ ആൽബം ലിങ്ക് അയച്ചു തന്നു. എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്, ഒരു ആൽബം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു മിക്സ് ടൈപ്പ് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിലും പോവാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ആൽബം എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിലും പോവാം. പക്ഷെ ഈ ആൽബത്തിൻ്റെ സീക്വൻസിങ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു കൺസെപ്റ്റ് ആൽബത്തിൻ്റെ തന്നെ സീക്വൻസിങ് ആണ്. അതായത് എവിടെയും ഒരു ബമ്പുകൾ വരുന്നില്ല. ഒരു ആദ്യത്തെ ട്രാക്ക് പ്ലേ ചെയ്ത് തുടങ്ങിയാൽ അവസാനം പോകുന്നത് വരെ ഇതിലെവിടെയും റോഡ് ബമ്പുകൾ വരുന്നില്ല. അത്രയ്ക്ക് നല്ല സീക്വൻസിങ് ആണ്. ആ സീക്വൻസിങ്ങിനെ ഏറ്റവും അധികം സഹായിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത് ഇതിൻ്റെ മ്യൂസിക് പ്രൊഡക്ഷനാണ്. അതായത് സുവിൻ്റെ ആയാലും ഡാൻ പേഴ്സിൻ്റെ ആയാലും ആർക്കേഡോയുടെ ആയാലും ഈ സൗണ്ട്സ്കേപ്പ് ഈ സീക്വൻസിങ്ങിനെ നന്നായി ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഒരു ഫ്ലോലെസ് ആയിട്ട് സീംലെസ് ആയിട്ടൊരു സീക്വൻസിങ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്ലേ ബാക്ക് ഈ ആൽബത്തിന് കിട്ടുന്നത്. പിന്നെ ഗ്ലെന്നിൻ്റെ കാര്യം, ഗ്ലെൻ ഒരു നല്ല മ്യൂസീഷ്യൻ എന്നതിലുപരി ഒരു നല്ല വിഷ്വൽ ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റ് കൂടി ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ആ ഒരു ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസും ഇതിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നാണ്. അത് ലിറിക്കലി ആയാലും മ്യൂസിക്കലി ആയാലും ആ ആൽബത്തിൻ്റെ വിഷ്വൽ ബുക്ക്ലെറ്റുകളിൽ പോലും ഗ്ലെന്നിൻ്റെ ആ ഒരു ബോത്ത് വിഷ്വൽ ഓഡിയോ ടാലൻറ്റുകളിൽ ഇൻഫ്യൂസ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ മൊത്തത്തിൽ ഈ ആൽബം നല്ലൊരു ഓഡിയൻസിലേക്ക് എത്തിപ്പെടട്ടെ എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ആഗ്രഹം. അതായത് ഒരു വൈഡ് റേഞ്ചിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നതിൽ ഉപരി റൈറ്റ് ഓഡിയൻസ്, അതായത് ഈ ആൽബം ഡിസർവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഓഡിയൻസിലേക്ക് എത്തിപ്പെടണം എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ആഗ്രഹം. കാരണം ഇത് നല്ലൊരു ആൽബമാണ്, നല്ല തീംഡായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ആൽബമാണ്. കാരണം ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ എന്താ പറയുക, ട്രാവിസ് സ്കോട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗ്ലെന്നിൻ്റെ ആ സ്കോട്ടപ്പൻ എന്നുള്ളത് ട്രാവിസ് സ്കോട്ട് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടാണെന്നാണ് ഗ്ലെൻ പറയുന്നത്. ഞാൻ അങ്ങനത്തെ ടൈപ്പ് മ്യൂസിക് കേൾക്കാത്ത ആളാണ്, ഞാൻ അതിൻ്റെ ആളുമല്ല. പക്ഷെ എന്നിരുന്നാൽ പോലും എന്നെ ഈ ആൽബം ഇരുത്തി കേൾപ്പിക്കാൻ ഇതിന് കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇതിന് വലിയൊരു കാര്യം. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഈ ആൽബം റൈറ്റ് ഓഡിയൻസ്, അതായത് ഇത് ഡിസർവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ഓഡിയൻസിലേക്ക് എത്തിപ്പെടട്ടെ എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ആഗ്രഹം. ഇത് കേൾക്കുന്നവരോടും കേട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞവരോടും ഒന്നേ പറയാനുള്ളൂ, നിങ്ങളിതുവരെ കയറിയ വിമാനയാത്രകളിൽ നിന്ന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു വിമാനയാത്രയാണ് ഇത് എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു അനുഭവം. സോ ഹാവ് എ ഗ്രേറ്റ് ഫ്ലൈറ്റ്.
Bro, എന്ത് നന്നായിട്ടല്ലേ, like just
Yeah,
describing things, and you see the poet in him, the way
yeah,
he draws a picture of മറ്റേ ബ്ലൂ സ്കൈ എന്ന് ഗ്രേ ആവുന്നതും ഇതൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത്, like you can actually kind of see the thought process that you obviously had behind this, the idea of it, and I think he summarized it the best way, right?
the
Like
best
the
way
whole,
possible. Yeah,
exactly, the album
yeah,
and the way you have conceptualized it. And
yeah,
I think one thing we spoke about Adindan is that ingennoru sambhavam I feel like is really unique, like an
yeah.
album completely dedicated to a theme or a concept of, this whole journey that you're taking someone through, right? So, bro, hats off, man. This is amazing stuff, and I think something like this coming from the legend himself is I think
No,
you
yeah,
must feel like
I
on
yeah.
top of the world
When
right now.
when he first heard it, he texted me and he was like, "Yeah, Kekam," and then I thought that would be the end of the message, right? And then like an hour later, he texted me like a para message, basically telling what he thought and everything, and I was like, and I knew like going into this from the beginning, I knew this was not his kind of music. He's a really old school, alengi, really heavy, hardcore kind of guy. And so for him to, and he's someone who does not like particularly like 808s and stuff like that, like the more modern hip hop sounds. And so for him to be a part of it first, and then ഇത് കുത്തിയിരുന്ന് കേട്ടിട്ട് to write a message about it to me as well was really, really big for me. And then when I asked him like, hey, could you send something like this for, this video, like a live stream in India? And he sent this voice note over, and I was just like, I sent it to Anjali, and I was like, bro, like, I don't think it could have been more bigger than that for me. So, yeah.
For sure, bro. I mean, this was a great track, and I think shit's just going down from here, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone can see, the next track is Free Fall, and yeah, I'm ready to get into it, bro.
Let's go.
Let's go.
But I couldn't make a money looking deep in the party, I limits, I don't care. Don't say that in my play face. Switch between myself, between the light bulb, and I'm okay. I really hate, but I couldn't make a money looking deep in the party, I limits, I don't care. Don't say that in my play face. Switch between myself, I'm not okay.
ചിതയിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് എണീറ്റ് പോകാം, പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ചിന്തകളിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് എണീറ്റ് പോകാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. അതും നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിനെ കീഴടക്കുന്ന ദുഷ്ടചിന്തയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും അതിനകത്ത് രക്ഷപ്പെടാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല. നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിനെ അള്ളി പിടിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും.
I'm chilling to things that matter in my life. It's getting hectic, can't control it if I try. I'm feeling the dark, control ഇല്ലാതെ ആരും പേടിക്കാനില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതെല്ലാം തീരുമേ. കണ്ണടച്ച് കിട്ടുന്നതടിച്ച് ശരിയല്ലെന്നറിഞ്ഞിട്ടും ചെയ്യുന്നു. If I were to put it in words what I felt, it probably goes like this, cause I feel but I couldn't make a money looking deep in the body, I limits, I don't care. Don't say that in my play face. Switch between myself and the light bulb, and I'm okay. I really hate, but I couldn't make a money looking deep in the body, I limits, I don't care. Don't say that in my play face. Switch between myself, I'm not okay. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. I knew there was something coming, in between. I knew there was something going down.
Yeah, nah. I guess just talking about what happened right before and what this track is. Track 4, Mayday, what I was trying to say was also, apart from the message that I was trying to give, when something goes wrong in life, the first thing you usually do is you ask God, like, why is this happening to me? and that's why the hook of the song was "Devame, why are you doing this to me?" And right after that, your next stage of reaction is acceptance of things are going down, and that's what Free Fall was about. So Free Fall is like, things are going down, it's gonna end. So you get into that acceptance of what reality is now, that things are going bad. I have to make peace with it. I should be okay, but I'm not really okay deep down, but this is what it is. And so it's a lot more of a melancholic, more sad kind of thing. And in the flight plan for this track especially, താഴെ ഒരു സാധനം ഞാൻ എഴുതി വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു that when the cabin pressure goes down, uh, like these oxygen mask comes out in flights, and so usually they give you oxygen to keep you awake, but in this one it gives you a gas that induces a trance, so that the pain when it crashes is painless, like you wouldn't know that you had a death. So that's why even in the track itself, ഇടയ്ക്ക് വെച്ച് my vocals become a lot more mumbly. I start mumbling the hook a lot more, because it's like, in a way, symbolizing that, even I've taken it now. I'm also gonna end with this track. And so I start mumbling, and then the crash happens. And then right after that, there's this orchestra, which was a symbolism for a mass funeral for everyone who was part of this journey. So, and that was done by Ryan. Ryan is a great musician that I grew up with in Bahrain.
Okay.
Yeah, from same church. And so when crash happened, and then Dan and I were like, I wanted this orchestral thing. I really wanted it. So I hit up Ryan and I was like, hey, can we do this? And then he sent this thing over, and then Dan took it and then he flipped it. He used that orchestra as a sample, and then he made things over it, and that's how it sounds. So it was more of a symphony or an orchestra if it was hip-hopized,
Right.
So yeah.
Bro, amazing stuff, man. This is, I mean, I think what you've written down here too, right? The description of what you've written down, like the trance-inducing acid, like it actually feels like, yeah, like I think the way you explained it is just perfect, right? Like acceptance, even when shit's going bad, you have a calm or something that comes with it,
Yeah,
with that acceptance, right? Like I'm sure all of us have been through certain
we've all been
situations
through.
in life. Yeah, some whatever different intensities they're at, but we've all been through some of that shit where shit's bad. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
Sometimes there is. But
yeah.
I think there's
There's a short thing from Dan about this.
Dan, right? Yeah, I really
Yeah.
want to hear what Dan has to say.
Ooh, again, we can't hear.
I'm glad I checked. Okay, let's try this once again. Yeah?
Nah. അയ്യോ, at least
Dan
this is the last
സംസാരിക്കാൻ
one.
സമ്മതിക്കുന്നില്ല.
സമ്മതിക്കുന്നില്ല.
I'm gonna try this once again, bro. Let's see.
Coming to the fifth track of the album, Free Fall.
Finally.
Glenn wanted something quite sad or quite mellowed down compared to the rest of the album, which was high intensity and high energy. So we hopped on a Zoom meet just like the previous track that we did, and sat on it for a couple of hours and ended up coming up with the track which I was quite happy with back then in 2021. We needed to spice it up, so Glenn's friend, that's Ryan, big shout out to Ryan, really spiced up the outro of the track with all the orchestration, which sounded really fire at the end of the track, which just uplifted the entire vibe and transitioned the track into something else altogether, which I hope you guys really appreciate that part of it.
We do, Danny boy. We appreciate it very much. Bro, like you just gotten so many different kinds of artists too, I feel, into this album, right? Like it's not a usual set of.
Yeah,
I know a lot of these producers you worked with day one, but
yeah,
even like the guitar element that you brought in, and like from CV and this by Ryan, just
yeah.
that's great, bro. Um, we basically have two more tracks, right?
Yep, yep.
So it's Rebirth, which is the next one, and uh, I wanna just share, you know, this before we
We
actually
get
get
into it.
into the track,
Yeah,
because I feel like there's something coming here, right? So
I
let's
don't.
see.
Yeah.
Can you see my
No,
screen
no,
right
no. We
now?
don't see the. I'm assuming you're
Okay,
talking about flight plan.
exactly. And
Yeah.
bro, the share thing is it's ലൈവ് ആവട്ടെ അത് പറയുന്നില്ല ബട്ട് hopefully it's working now.
It's working now. Yeah, yeah.
It's working now. So I haven't read this, but I want to read
Yeah,
it
yeah. Go for it. Go
now.
for it.
So to understand, to value, and to truly appreciate life, you must first flirt with death. A second chance, a rebirth. This track marks the moment of realization that shifts everything. Would you choose differently this time or walk the same path? With production by Suvin and synths from GWS, it weaves an ethereal experience where the lines between existence and oblivion blur. The real question now: are you truly changed? I guess I'll know after the track, right?
I guess we'll know.
Awesome, bro. Let me go into the next track, which is Rebirth. ഇതിപ്പോ കറക്റ്റ് ഇതാണോ ഷെയർ ആവുന്നതെന്ന് പോലും it's like it's showing me like it's sharing uh like two tabs at once. I don't know how that's possible, but anyway, I hope this is the right one.
You can close this one now because I don't
Yeah,
think.
ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല
Yeah,
എന്റെ
കഴിഞ്ഞു.
ആവശ്യമായി.
Yeah.
Bro, you're sharp even
Unfortunately.
you're sharp even at 1 in the night, bro.
Oh
1:20.
yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a voice note or a message from Suvin on this. But this is honestly one of my favorite tracks from the album.
Bob
Um,
saying it's his favorite track too.
yeah,
So
it's a very beautiful track.
let's
I
go
hope
then.
you enjoy it too. Yeah.
Definitely, bro.
കണ്ടൊരുങ്ങാൻ ഞാൻ കാണുന്ന ഭൂമി മുത്ത് കാഴ്ചപ്പാട് നല്ലതിനു വേണ്ടി ഓടി കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് മലകൾ കയറി എത്തും ആകാശം തേടി കലകാലം അറിഞ്ഞ സത്യങ്ങൾ പറക്കും നിലയിലാണ് താളങ്ങൾ മാറി വരുന്നു കലയും കാലങ്ങൾ എന്നാലും കൊടുന്നു മനസ്സിൻ ഭാരങ്ങൾ ജീവിക്കാനായി നീ ആദ്യം മരിക്കണം ജീവിതത്തിന്റെ വില നീ അറിയണം ചെയ്ത എല്ലാ ക്രിയകൾക്ക് പ്രതിഫലം under the mercy രണ്ടാം അവസരം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് കളയല നീ നന്മ ചെയ്തി with a change എന്താണ് ഭാവി that is real is what we know and what we see
Bro, you know, the first thing that I thought of is that, like when we do these live streams, right? Like sometimes I feel like it doesn't do justice to, in terms of like, the quality of the music,
Quality,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because there's so much going on there, and like to actually get that real experience, you actually have to listen to the album,
Yeah.
on whatever platforms they're available. And for whoever's missed it, it's April 18th, right? That we have
Yeah.
the album coming out. And I'm guessing it's everywhere, right?
Yep,
Spotify.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep, yep.
Sweet stuff, bro. Bro, tell me a little bit about this track, because I know you told me a little bit about this when we had a chat before, that Suvin was really looking forward to getting this track out.
Yeah,
You wait for years to get that out, I'm guessing.
yeah, it took a while, but this one was made also very differently because Suvin ആദ്യം ഞാൻ പുള്ളിയുടെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞു, like I wanted something that was like a little ethereal, because the storyline it's like, imagine the death happened and now there's a second chance at life.
Hmm.
So you've kind of come back and it's a little more of a sci-fi thing now-ish, like feeling, or like really outer space, very outer world experience kind of thing. So we started with something first initially, and the a different version of this track was actually recorded first, sent it to him, and if I remember right, he sampled what I sang and then made this beat,
Oh.
and then sent it back to me, and then I wrote a completely different thing on top of it, and that is what this track has become. And then I had some fun playing some synths in the main, in that drop area before the final chorus
Hmm.
comes in to kind of build it up a lot. But yeah, no, this was a very fun track, and it really changes the direction of where things are going from here
Hmm.
on.
Yeah.
And it also kind of poses the question to people. It's like, okay, now if you get a second chance in life, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to stand there, not do anything about it, or are you going to change things and do things differently this time? Yeah, and then that kind of leads to the next song, which, by the title itself, kind of
Hmm.
gives you the only option that you have is to take control. So
Was there a, do you feel like this whole concept of, the flights and, that whole circle of life basically, was there a certain instance that, had you thinking of something like this, or was it just a whatever, what was that thought process of, this whole circle of life in the theme of a flight? And
yeah, I don't think it was a particular instance in life. I've had a lot of times, where there are things that have come up and I've had to either stand strong in what I was trying to do, or
yeah.
face a certain adversity in its own, and its own time. And each time, things are different, so you have to react to it differently. But I think the whole point of going through things in life too is to like learn from each thing and growing as a person, and which is also how I try to lay out this whole album, right? Like the first song is boarding, and it's like, every time you come facing a new thing, you're getting into it for the first time. So, and usually there's someone guiding you through something, and whenever, like, even me picking up music and being inspired, like KV was there. That's how I saw him, and I was like, oh cool, I want to try that. And then Travis was there as an inspiration, and I was like, oh, I want to do that kind of sound and whatnot. And then taxiing is this phase in life where you're like, you've just taken the first step, and now you're like not sure if you're having cold feet, or
Hmm.
you want to take the second step and keep going forward. So that's that moment. And then takeoff is when things are like looking good and it's going up and you think everything is great and it's perfect in life. But every peak, like I said, has a fall at some point. And so that is what Mayday is. And Mayday, when things go wrong, you ask the question like, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? But
Hmm.
in reality, it's karma. It's like, at the end of the day, everything has its own consequences and so on. And sometimes it's just fate, like you just have to deal with it. And so free fall is that acceptance of, okay, cool, life throws things at you and you accept it, and you're going to crash for sure. And and if you're lucky, there's a second chance at things, and
Hmm.
you have an option to be a different person. And so rebirth is that symbolism of, yeah, okay, cool, now you got a second chance in life. Now, how are you going to be about it? And in many ways, the seventh track is taking control and like, cool, I'll change things, I guess. So
until you get back into the cycle again.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, yeah, man. I think you said it well, right? Like life is completely peaks and valleys, right? It's ups and downs, and I think having that understanding itself is already an advantage, I think, in life, knowing
Yeah,
that things will be up sometimes, will be down sometimes, and you
100%.
live
Yeah,
with it, right?
yeah.
Awesome, bro. I'm ready to take
Jump
control.
into 7. Yeah, let's go.
തിരികെ വന്ന് ഞാനൊന്നുമില്ലാത്തവനാ താഴ്ന്ന തുടക്കം ഒന്നൂടെ പണിയാം വന്ന പാതകൾ തിരിച്ചു നോക്കിടാം നന്മ ചെയ്തതെല്ലാം ഒന്നൂടെ ഓർത്തിടാം വിട പറയാൻ സമയമായി എങ്ങോട്ടെന്നോ എന്തിനൊന്നോ അറിയില്ല നല്ല ആശകൾ മനസ്സിൽ മാത്രമായി എല്ലാത്തിനും നന്ദി
Bro, that's like the perfect outro to the album,
Yeah.
man. It's
Um,
beautiful, man. It's such a beautiful track.
yeah, it's short and sweet,
Yeah.
but also kind of reminds you like, hey, you've got the second chance at life, and you've kind of you went from being someone big to small again, and just make sure you do good things and keep going forward. And and small detail that's there is that lastly the outro
Hmm.
sound is the first track. So just like in life, everything loops
The
back
loop.
up. Yeah. So
Bro, you've put so much. Like I feel like the years that you've put into this, like I feel like Bhagat Vyadi said, I hope you reach the right people, right? That's the main
yeah,
thing. And that's what I'm hoping for you as well on this album. But bro, this is some amazing, amazing stuff. And I know there's the last track that's there on the actual album as well, right? Because you
yeah,
intend to basically listen to it in one go.
yeah. So the last track is the whole album, kind of put together as one big sound score, like a movie sound score. So it's just 18 minutes, I guess, if I'm right, of the whole album in one go, so that people can just experience the true intention behind the album.
Hmm.
Obviously, you have the separate tracks if you like anything to keep for yourself,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah,
intended to be listened to in that whole,
whole, yeah.
yeah.
It's a short, sweet, different project. Sounds like a very small thing, but it took a while for us to put this together. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it sounds,
I think
and
it sounds
I'm
great, bro. And
hoping.
I think even in terms of like just the selection of music and what you wanted to get into the album, I'm sure, so many other tracks that you probably wanted to get in that are not, featured. But I think in terms of like the concept and how you want that flow to go, like I think every track does that. Like, when you go from the Mayday to the free fall to, coming back up the rebirth, and it really does that,
Yeah.
as you actually see it. So, bro, congrats, man. I mean, great
Yeah.
stuff. It's been a few years since I've done this too, and you've
No, thank
some
you for doing this.
for sure, bro. What better do I have to do?
Need to jump back and start doing more podcasts, dude.
Yeah, bro, probably. Let's see. Definitely. I mean, with this thing too, right? I like this was just a free flowing conversation between us. Like I've
Yeah.
always loved your music. I know you don't take compliments that well, but bro, like the whole reason I started the podcast is because of your inspiration. I've said this so many times, but I don't think I can ever say it enough. Even to make for me to go through this journey, right? It's a
Yeah.
journey for me too, right? Even whatever it is in life, right? That podcasting and doing this thing and doing something I really love. Uh, I couldn't for a long time, but thank you for getting me back into it, bro. It's been amazing, and I hope we could still do this on the next
Oh
album that
yeah.
you're coming on.
Yeah, petition to get Ronnie to start podcasting again.
Oh,
100%. Like, dude needs to come back.
thank you, Anjali. But yeah, guys, I mean, this is great stuff, and I'm really looking forward to the 18th, bro, because I still feel like I haven't heard the full album because it's like kind of streaming. But
Yeah.
now so that you said it to me, I actually have it. So
Yeah.
I think I get the privilege of
You do get the
uh,
privilege. Yeah.
listening to it. But
Nah,
congrats, this is
nah,
some
thank you so
amazing
much. Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you for everyone who, joined in, spent some time with us to listen to this. I hope you all enjoyed it. And, uh, I hope you guys, could get an essence of what this project means, both to me and as a concept. Big shout out to Anjali, all the producers from Bob, Dan, Arcado, Suvin, and even Pagasyayadi. Like, for me, that's still the highlight for me on the album. Um, yeah, and yeah, Anjali says it right. Like, every time it's a hard one to get through in the first
Mm-hmm.
listen and to understand everything, all the nuances and all the things that are happening in it. But every time you listen to it, like, it does actually get better, and you feel like you understand it a bit more every time you
Mm-hmm.
listen to it. So yeah, uh, stream it up when it comes out.
For sure, bro. I think you said it well, right? In terms of there's some music that you have to grow into, and
Yeah,
for some people it could be that like
yeah,
this is my kind of music that I really enjoy, like especially when I go out like walks and stuff. Like it's that perfect timing too, right? 20 minutes you
yeah,
go down
yeah,
the whole journey of life in that 18 to 20 minutes. But
yeah.
yeah, bro. So thank you so much, bro, for doing this. And yeah, I really look forward to April 18th, even though I can listen to it. But
Good man.
I'm really excited to see, what people think about it,
Think
what the
about it. Yeah,
response is. And yeah, hopefully we'll see all of you guys soon.
yeah. Thank you so much for
And
joining in,
yeah,
and yeah, hopefully see you April 18th, and
see you
bump that
guys.
up.